I'm here to save, myself and other people. So if I was in a situation where if I was in a sexual intercourse situation, I would not be forceful upon my um, partner. So I would ask for permission. I'm not talking about like the whole planet, like I'm gonna save it like a Superman. No, not like that. I'm talking about myself. I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I create a sex offense, is what I was talking about.
Okay. Now you said you're here. Do you mean that you were sent here by someone to save other people?
No, more like sitting here for a parole violation technicality on top of a new charge. So,
Okay.
with that being said, hope you understand that.
The evaluator said that you told him, I am kind of like a savior and people are jealous of that.
So I've been idolized before as a leader. I did well with females growing up.
With what? With
I
females?
grew up with females in my life, and I've always had good relationships with females. Um, I was once told, that I was like a ladies' man. So it's more like saying people envy me because I get numerous accounts of partners, and I think what I was regarding to is people do not have that type of lifestyle. So they see that in other people, maybe in court procedures, or maybe an arresting officer notice that um, I get a lot of attention from females, and I get in a relationship with females mainly. So I do good.
All right, so you're popular with the ladies and people
Yeah.
are jealous about that.
Yes.
What about this statement where you said, I am kind of like a savior? What does that mean?
So more like to say when people like females come into a situation where they're having maybe a problem with a spouse or someone else, I'm there to like to be there for them to pour out the problems to me. You know what I mean? To talk about it, and I'm just there to make them feel more cared about. So I give them that the attentive hearing, attention. So I pay special care to what they say.
So you're a good listener?
I am a good listener.
And so the question is, were you comparing yourself to Jesus Christ?
Not
You
quite.
said that.
Not quite. It's not on a spiritualistic basis. It's more on like eye to eye level basis to where me and the conversation can relate to each other and have a type of mutual relationship to the point where we understand each other.
Okay, that's helpful to get your viewpoint there. Would you continue taking your medications in the future, or do you feel like you would just stop?
I really don't have a say if I could stop using any type of medication that's been prescribed to me by a certified like PhD, DR. I would continue taking medicine as long as it's prescribed in my name.
Even if you're out of prison?
Most likely out of prison. If it's recommended by doctors or maybe a nurse or a therapist to help balance the chemicals like in my brain to make sure that I'm stabilized and competent enough to live my life, then yes, I will continue taking medicine.
Okay. The evaluation says that you've had a long history abusing alcohol, meth, cocaine, and marijuana. Is that accurate?
It is to some extent. Like I started at a young age. I don't really use it on a day by day basis or a week to week basis. It's more like a social happening. If I have maybe like a partner, I'd go celebrate, the day like an anniversary type. situation, or maybe on a Friday night. It's usually a party night day for like the weekend. So I go out and maybe have a drink or two. I'm not a hardcore alcoholic to the point where I cannot live without alcohol or meth or marijuana or anything like that. I'm more of a tobacco user, and since I've been smoking tobacco before I was incarcerated, before I came into UDC's custody, it was starting to become more harsh to me. I starting to have displeasure and dislike. I didn't have the same type of experience with the tobacco.
So the drugs were no longer appealing to you?
Not quite. Plus, the tolerance level, it's more of an expensive habit. I don't crave any type of controlled substances, one or two, or any type of narcotics, to the point where I make it like a long-term goal. And that's not what I want to do if I was to be released or when I'm released. I was focusing on more on like a career, getting a job and like settling down and just get rid of all the corrected. And that's why I'm proud to be here today, just to help you be corrected on where I'm coming from, so you can understand me instead of the paper statements, and just to let you know that I'm not just gonna go out and then just quit and start over again to be like a criminal. I don't like really being incriminated, profiled, or like labelized or anything like that. I'm more here to say that I'm aware that I have a drug history. There was at a time, a violent history. It's not too much of a violent, it's really slowed down. I've made mistakes in the past, and it was mainly by order and more of like a secondary emotion that was kind of like a involuntary emotion.
Can I ask you about that? In
No
the
problem.
evaluation, you said that the reason you had weapons in the past is you needed to protect yourself from others.
So I've had made statements that I do have weapons for protection. It's mainly because I was in a situation, I just ended up having them just to have them. At one time, I got caught with a gun, and I wanted to show one of my relatives, you know what I mean? Like, oh, hey, look, I have a weapon. I wanted to go show him. I wasn't intentionally going to like
Who
use.
did you need to protect yourself from?
If anything, if I was to protect myself or like my family, it would be from perpetrators who retaliate, who
Retaliate for?
as in like aggravated assaults, murders, rapes, like child molestation, robbery, maybe harboring, as in like hostage.
Are there specific people who want to murder and rape you, or is it just general people out there?
Persona, I really don't know if anybody's out there targeting me to create a sex offense on my body or anything like that. But I mean, if that was the case, I'd probably report that to the authorities or the local law enforcement agency.
Wait, what?
Okay. The recommendation is that you complete substance abuse treatment. Are you willing to do that?
I have put on the Board of Pardons packet that I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, my number
Um,
is 6-3.
It should been on there, as you've seen.
Right, but I wanted to ask you in person what your thought is.
Oh,
So you
is it
don't
like a
want to do.
drug rehab? Like for using?
So there's treatment here in prison for drug treatment.
Okay.
If the board said, hey, man, we want you to do this treatment, would you do it? Or would you say, no, I'm not going to?
Well, if that wasn't like the crime that I was involved in, I'd probably disagree. But I do have something to say. I did get a substance abuse course certificate made from the UDC and had a UDC staff signed off on that. These certificates are coming from, I think, Gunnison, CUCF. I have put that in the statements, as well as the DUI course. I've graduated that. And I cognitive behavior. And then one of them that didn't have anything to do with the UDC, I think it was like breaking free, and it's talking about sobriety, about not using drugs or alcohol and being clean. I received those certificates in, I think, year 2023, I believe.
2023?
Correct. And I use those as a substitute for the case action plans that I think my correctional case manager had wanted me to do. With the Board of Pardons, I noticed that you guys wanted me to finish, work on gangs, mental health, I believe it was DUI, and a education course, which I have completed. It's on the blue packet as well.
And you've sent us those? Did you say that you sent us copies of those certificates?
Actually, I thought about that. Yes, I have from the last time I went to the Board of Pardons hearing. I believe it was prior to this one. And I've sent that to the Board of I actually sent to the Board of Pardons in Murray, Utah.
Yeah,
building.
that's the right place.
So and that's where my certificates of completion will be at. As of right now, I haven't sent for them, but I've had send them to the actual Board of Pardons parole.
Okay, how is your mental health now?
I've been seeing therapists. When I usually have a hard time when I go through distress and I go through agitation, I usually put in an ICR request to go see a therapist, and I'll let the therapist know what's going through my mind, you know what I mean? If I feel agitated or if I'm feeling like I'm having mixed emotions or anything like that. And usually the therapist will prescribe medicine. I am also taking a medicine called Propanol. It's for anxiety, and it's for the situations, you know what I mean, of that, what I've been going through in my life. And as of right now, it's still continue. I use that to help balance my anxiety, so I'm able to cooperate and not be so nervous or anything like that.
You feel pretty stable today?
I feel stable.
Is there anything else about the psychological evaluation that you want to comment on?
As I have right here on a psychological evaluation, I had to put in a grammar request to the government. It says right here through one of the doctors for an assessment right here, schizoaffective type schizophrenia assessments is as of December 29th of 2023, it says deteriorated by Irene Krasnova. That's one of the therapists I was talking to. I'm thinking that the assessment, I don't know if it's saying that my schizophrenia is deteriorated or the schizophrenia is so bad that it's deteriorated. I'm thinking that I'm more cured because I've been taking medicine for this schizoaffective type schizophrenia. It says the assessment right here.
Okay. I understand that point. Any other comments you have about the evaluation?
Other than that, I've had put in for it. I've had been assessed by Utah State Prison psychologist. He has actually given me this diagnosis. I don't know if it's actually a complete diagnosis. I never heard such of a diagnosis of a schizoaffective, because when I was asking the psychiatrist, I said, what is this diagnosis that I have? He was saying, you're kind of like, you're pretending, you know know what I mean? You wanted attention that you had a mental illness. It was when I was doing the testing. I was testing for for mental health psychological evaluation. I think it was back in like 2009, 2010. And I didn't qualify to be full-blown schizophrenia. So he was more like saying playing a part as affective, not as an effective.
So the diagnosis is incorrect?
It's more like saying it's a borderline. It's not an actual full diagnosis of being mentally ill. As of like right now, and that I'm giving you the information that the Dr. David Egley has given. He's with the mental health, and he works with the mentally ill, as well as Dr. Francis, who is a psychologist for diagnosing people for a illness,
Okay.
for the mental.
Thanks
Yeah.
for telling me that. We need to wrap things up here.
Okay,
As you know, you don't receive a decision today.
okay,
At least 3 members of the board must agree on whether to grant parole or have a rehearing or do something else. You
okay.
understand that?
Did anybody have send a copy of the parole and condition agreement for special conditions for August 2021 before I came here, as well as the new crimes? I tried to make a correction about it. One of them is actually a parole violation technicality, and the actual one was actually like a query dispute, like violence.
Uh-huh.
I had two, it was two be misdemeanors, 6 months each. One was like a simple assault. The other one was, I think it had to do with like intoxication, but the possession of dangerous weapon by a restricted person was a part of violation of 1 and 2 parole special condition agreement. I just wanted to make that correct,
Okay.
so you're aware of that.
Thanks for making me aware of that. Do you want the board to go ahead and make a decision, or do you want us to wait for you to send us letters or paperwork or anything else?
I'd like for the Board of Pardons and you to make the decision.
Okay, we'll do that. I appreciate you speaking to me, and we'll conclude the hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I may also say one more thing. I'm hoping for like a termination, like probably for the next parole date.
Let me ask you this. Your sentence expires October 12th, 2026. Are you saying you want to just remain here until then rather than parole?
I don't know how long it is for a termination, but if it's pretty soon, I would probably like to remain, since I've done more than about 50 to 60% of my sentencing of the crimes.
So, you can stay and expire October 12th of 2026 or try parole again. Would you rather just expire and be done with it?
Well, I'm gonna go with the parole. I'm just gonna go with the parole.
Okay, thanks for telling me that.
You got me there. Thanks.
besides, I guess, the part of me being here, right?
Well, hold on just a sec. All right, we're on the record now. This is the time set for an original hearing for Eric Strider Miller. Go ahead and move closer to the microphone.
Sir.
Is that you?
Yes, sir.
Is Strider from Lord of the Rings?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Do you know your offender number?
150053.
Thank you. My name is Blake Hills. I'm a member of the Board of Pardons and Parole, and I've been assigned to conduct the hearing. I need to swear you in, so please raise your right hand. Do you promise the testimony you will give will be truthful and accurate?
Sir.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, did you receive 7 days written notice of the hearing?
Yes, sir.
Did you receive blue disclosure paperwork?
Yes, sir.
Did you look at it?
Yes, sir.
Was it fine?
Yes, sir.
Any issues you need to bring up about that?
No, sir.
You ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
Remind me, is this your first time in the Utah prison?
No, sir.
So you understand what the parole hearing is then?
Yes, sir.
Right. First, tell me about this West Wendover case.
I was at the,
Well, don't tell me what you did. I'll be more clear. What do you think's going to happen? Are they going to follow up on the detainer and take you back there to deal with it?
just barely, I've been trying to get, they don't do a video court out there. I've been trying to get in contact. I've talked with my lawyer. I don't know. I'm gonna write the judge and send him what I've accomplished while I've been in here and see if he just wants to. I was just supposed to show up for sentencing. I already did my 45-day PSI for him. And the plea deal was just supposed to be to get probation extradited out here, right?
So you're probably going to do probation on that?
Yes, sir.
All right. You willing to pay restitution here? And you have family here. Are your ties to Utah or Nevada or somewhere else?
Here, Utah.
There was no release plan included in the materials. Where would you live?
At my mother's house,
And where was that?
Hula County,
How would you support yourself?
by working. I have
Doing what?
CNC machining is what I'm going into.
And what sort of work would you do?
Well, there's various, I've been a welder, so I can fabricate and weld also, along with what I've been doing in vocational trade here, learning the CNC machining by designing or manufacturing parts for companies and running the CNC machines that they have also.
Very good.
I-
Sounds like you've got a support system to help you.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I have a very good support system actually, and have some very good things in mind that I wanted to add to help give back to the community also when I got out. Here, why I've been in the solid program for the last 10 months.
How's that been going?
Super amazing. I mean, I've learned so many different skills and it's such a different environment than Fair 1 or Fair 4.
What sort of skills?
Anywhere from jobs, punctuality, how to act, substance abuse, how to just cope with life in general and be ready for when we get out there to give back to society instead of taking like we've been doing, right?
So what would be different?
And
In other words, you've learned these things in solid. Are they just nice things to know, or would it translate to different behavior and actions?
my behavior is a 180 degrees. Like when I first got incarcerated and I got clean and I was in jail county for 5 months, right? I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to get out, stay clean, live that life. I already had that in mind, and that's what was going on. I graduated drug court a year before that, and I had 3 years sobriety, and I was doing great. And I ended up, no excuse, but a bump in the road that I had, I shattered my collarbone, and that's what ended up to my relapse, right? my body rejected the metal plate that they put in there, so on. Anyway, so when I thought that I had it figured out then, right? That I had a good head on my shoulders even then after 5 months. And then when I came to here to prison, went to Bear One, and I was finding it hard to find any kind of clarity, honestly. And when I got it, I reached out to Solid. It has been nothing but the environment of uplifting, of how to act around people, how to be, what do you want, where do you want to be in life? How do you want to get there? Is this the kind of life that we really continue want? That's not what I want. Is this? I got so much more to offer than committing crime and using drugs. I know that I have a lot more, and my life is not going to be a bum for my kids to look at when they're older. I want to be someone successful and someone that they could be proud of. My mom, everybody. And I know I've said this before, but change is big, really big in my life right now.
Tell me how.
Well, for one, definitely not ever gonna continue to look at drugs. And actually getting out there with this CNC program that I want to continue to do, I'm super excited about just the machines, how big and how vast they are in the world right now is just super exciting to me. I'm eager to get out there and just start growing and actually, I don't know, I can't tell you what CNC has for me in store, but I know the opportunities are just humongous. And I'm just barely touching base into with the program that you guys have provided with me here. I graduate that on the 23rd of this month. I will have my CNC certificate. And I want to be a dad. I want to be someone to be able to look up to. And that's just something that I'm going to strive for. And I'm not going to look back this time. My outlook on life is to give to my family, make sure people are going to be okay. Not sit there and make them struggle and worry anymore about what is going on. You know, I'm 41 years old and it's time to get it right. You know, I know I can, and I'm ready to do that if given the opportunity.
So Strider wasn't out there stealing equipment at construction sites or using drugs, right?
Strider, I was.
Right, but Strider wasn't, the
Strider
guy you're named after wasn't out there
No,
doing that stuff.
that's not a leader.
Is there anything from his example that you can use as motivation to get a hold of things and be productive?
When I think of Strider, I say he's a king, right? He's a leader, and he's someone that actually everybody looks up to, and that's someone that I would love to be, and that's someone I'm striving to be. I want to have, when I do pass away, I don't want people to look at me as a thief, as someone that just grimy, that did whatever he could to, you know, that wasn't right to get by. No, I wanted people to look at me that, hey, he never gave up. He pushed, he got through the struggle and he made it.
What do you need to do so people will look back at you that way?
Continue to stay sober for number one. Continue my goals that I have set in place as in CNC operating and welding and being a father, being a son, being a friend to people out there, not being someone that just wants to take and not care.
All right. Anything else the board needs to know, or have we covered it all?
So instead, you know, while in Solid, I have me and Zachary Valdez started our to give back to the community there. We started a substance abuse called Solid Anonymous every Sunday that we teach at 6:30. It's been a great success. I plan on doing that. I want to start my own Solid Anonymous class when I get out into Tooele County and invite people to continue the sobriety on that, also to help me stay focused and to help others and to start giving back.
Those are fantastic goals. Since this isn't your first time, you know that you don't receive an answer today. At least 3 members of the board must agree on what happens next. Any questions about that?
No, sir, just I know I can make it, give them a chance. I know I can be successful, and I know I'm not going to be back here.
All right, is that a commitment?
Yes, sir.
To me, to your family?
Yes, sir.
to yourself?
Yes, sir.
Your family and I can't do it for you. Has to
Sure.
be you. Right. Okay. Well, I appreciate you speaking to me, and we'll conclude the hearing at this time.
Thank you, sir. Have a good
Listen.
day.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Greg Johnson, a member of the Board of Pardons and Parole. And are you Brett Leonard Orton?
Yes, sir.
Okay, offender number 88855?
Yes, sir.
All right. To start with, just want to be clear that today is not a pardon hearing. It's not a parole hearing. It's a victim impact hearing.
Okay.
And I'll explain how we got to this point and what's expected today in just a minute.
Okay.
If you have questions as we go along, feel free to ask, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So to start with, these hearings are open to the public and live streamed as well. So there may be people observing online.
Okay.
Did you receive at least 7 days notice of this hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you receive your disclosure, your blue packet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we disclose the information that we may be considering or basing a decision on. We disclose that so that you can respond to it, so that you can make corrections or ask questions about it.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions or concerns about your disclosure?
No, sir.
Okay. And sometimes that's called the blue packet.
Yes.
All right. Let me explain a little bit about why we're here, how we got to this point. So you were convicted of 2 first-degree felonies. The sentence is 30 years to life. On some documents, it shows 100 years or 200 years. That's just a numerical figure. It's up to life. The board has the obligation to consider you for parole at some point during that range. The sentence was with the possibility of parole. And to do that, we start with the sentencing guideline, which in your case is May of 2048.
Mhm.
Is that what you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The board can find aggravating or mitigating factors to go above or below the guideline. Aggravating factors can include, your behavior, disciplinaries, things like that. Mitigating could include program completion, good behavior, things like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the board sets original hearings. Your original hearing is set for February of 2034. It was set that way by rule. That's about 15 years into your sentence. So that'll be your original hearing.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about your sentence?
No.
Okay. All right. And according to rule, if the original hearing is set more than 3 years away, a survivor could request a victim impact hearing, which is why we're here today. So a victim impact hearing is a chance for a person to put their statement on the record. You'll have the chance to respond to anything that's said, but they can put that statement on the record for the future board to consider. Also, and I'm saying this because there may be other survivors observing online, but they can participate in whatever way they're most comfortable with. Some people choose to testify at a hearing, which is fine. Others choose to submit things in writing. They feel more comfortable with that. And others just prefer to observe. So whatever way they would like to participate in the hearing or in the parole process is fine. And that includes testifying at any other hearing as well. So even if they testify today, they can still testify again, still submit things in writing, because obviously impacts can be lifelong and there may be new things that they want the board to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, that's why we're here. We'll take time to hear from one of the survivors and give you a chance to respond. And I'll also check back with you at the end and see if you have any questions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go ahead and get you sworn in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth and be accurate in today's proceeding?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. You can put your hand down. So Ms. Perry, I understand that you would like to address us today. Would you please come to that microphone, and I'll ask you to state your name, and we'll need to swear you in when you get there. You can sit down. Would you, sorry.
Been her advocate and attorney.
Yes, that's just fine. And go ahead and take a minute or take your time. It's okay. It's okay. I'll give you a minute before we swear you in, okay?
So would you want to hear again? Sorry, my name.
Okay, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth and be accurate in today's proceeding?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Please state your name for the record.
Brandy Perry.
Okay. Go ahead and share what you'd like us to understand.
My name is Brandy Perry. I'm 32 years old. My date of birth is May 20th, 1992. I reside in Layton, Utah. I was raised by and currently live with my mother, Kimberly Stoddard. I also live with my daughter, Liza, who's 6 years old, my long-term partner, Chase, and I have two sisters who lived with me while growing up, one older, Amber Stoddard, and one younger, Courtney Perry. My biological mother and father divorced when us children were young. I was approximately 5 years old, and this is my story. After my parents divorced, Brett Orton, my mother's boyfriend, moved in with us. My father had been and continued to be an addict and was in and out of our life the majority of our lives. All I ever wanted was a father to be there and to love my sisters and me and treat my mom good. And Brett made it known that he was going to be our protector and love us girls like the children he never had. At first, it seemed to be good because Brett would spoil us, take us camping, do lots of fun stuff with us like a father figure should. However, in retrospect, I since realized he was grooming us. Me and my sisters to be just the way he wanted, to have control over us. We have no idea that Brett was a master manipulator and sex addict until the first night he came into my room. I was approximately 5 years old, and he put his hands over my mouth and touched me inappropriately. He continued touching me nightly when my mom would go to sleep. I have the most disturbing memory of me being 5 or 6 and Brett telling me he stole his my neighbor's dildo. It was white. He made me stick it in his butt. Next thing I knew, he shat all over. I cried the whole time. And still to this day, I can never get clean enough. I have thousands of separate memories of abuse. He sexually abused me thousands of times by age 12. It was at age 12 that the defendant told me he was going to teach me to be a girlfriend for boys. I thought that all fathers did this. By age 12, Brett was also making me and my cousins do sexual stuff to each other and do stuff to him as well. At this point, my father lived in Indiana and my mother was working full-time to take care of us and put a roof over our head. So Brett was with us girls most of the time. During the day, that's when he started having oral sex and making me do it back to him thousands of times. Brett would also make serious threats to kill my family, kill me, burn down our house, or just make me disappear if I were to tell. I really believed this man, considering what I had witnessed him do when he did not get his way. He would also regularly mentally abuse me and convince me that everything was my fault. I basically was a confused, lost little girl. I have vivid memories of Brett raping me in the bathroom and my sister Amber walking in. I was crying and scared. Brett would always cover it up somehow. The raping behavior happened routinely. Brett would typically drug me and my sisters and our friends too. He would smoke pot with us. He would always tell us this black tar heroin looking stuff on top and make us think it was resin. And in my heart of hearts, I know it was not just THC. My therapist, Paula Fiat, would like you to know that I'm one of the most severe cases of abuse she's ever had to deal with, because he went so far as grooming me to gain my trust before he started to abuse me. He would buy us toys and candy and take us camping, play the father act, and then he knew I trusted him fully, and then he slowly began touching me inappropriate. At night, my mother would go to sleep, or in the winter when he was off work, he would come get me out of my room in the middle of the night and take me to the basement or out to the shed in the backyard. And that is when he would fully rape me. Penetration. I was so young, I didn't know that what he was doing to me was wrong. But by then, he started regularly adding alcohol and marijuana to the sexual abuse manipulation process. So he's also responsible for giving minors drugs and alcohol. Brett Orton made me lose respect for myself and taught me to think that that you have sex for money. I knew that was how some people lived. So I started to think it was normal to live this way. I grew up having no respect for myself because this monster constantly used me, had no respect for me. He's extremely manipulative, and I have watched him get out of trouble with authority figures many times. For example, he would take my phone, send text messages to his own phone saying things such as, "Do you want to have sex for money?" Then he would threaten to show people, and as if I were asking for the abuse. I have so many bad memories, but I have also lost so much time, and I have many blurred memories, maybe from being drugged for so long, I'm not sure. In addition, I cannot have any more children. I was lucky to conceive my daughter, as his sexual abuse of me caused permanent damages to my uterus. Brett's horrific sexual abuse of me ruined any chances of me having another child, and I'm pissed. I'm pissed. My insides are so messed up, I almost hemorrhaged to death. I have a daughter to care for now, and every legal court situation takes a toll on my health. I want to be able to stay alive and be a good mother for my child. If he were to ever get released, I don't think I could handle it, and it's not fair to me or my child. I deserve the chance to repair the damage he has done to me, and I deserve the chance to be a good mother to my child. All I know is that life has been very messed up because of this monster. He took the soul of me as a young girl I will never get back. I could go on for days about how horrible this man is, but I think you can start to understand how evil he is. Brett raped and molested me from a young child till I was 23, 18 years. I ran away from my own home many times to escape him and ended up getting into worse situations that I thought were all my fault because most of my life I was abused. I thought that was how the world worked. When I would run away or move away, I always would have to call my grandma and grandpa to save me. And he's not here anymore. This would eventually end up back home and into the life of hell. If Brett didn't get his way, he would manipulate my mom to get us kicked out or grounded or our phones taken away. He was mentally and emotionally abusive. I was literally a life of hell. I now suffer from PTSD, depression, anxiety, and eating disorder. I have anxiety about putting things into my mouth, such as food, because of all the bad things Brett did to me and had me put in my mouth, which eventually resulted to me being on a feeding tube to save my life. I'm often so anxious about this court situations, fearing he could get out, that I struggle to be able to eat. I feel too sick. Before the feeding tube, at one point, my weight fell to 70 pounds. So my therapist was concerned for my health and had my medical doctor put me on a feeding tube. Although my therapist has worked with me to process and overcome many of the traumatic experiences with Brett, I know I will not be able to rest if he ever gets released. I would feel better off dead. Dead. I'm serious. And I don't deserve that. I cannot handle the thought of him being free. I would not be able to progress in my recovery knowing he is out in society. Board member, I want you to know this man is not safe in society. He is manipulative of others, especially young children. As I relied previously, this man groomed me from a young age using any necessary means, including emotional manipulation, fun activities, money, drugs, lies, etc. I endured all of it. The abuse from the age of 5 till age 23, 18 years, and this man is still not taking accountability for all the pain and damage he caused me, and many, many others. The abuse he inflicted upon me did not end when he was finally caught either. I have suffered PTSD to high anxiety with panic attacks, severe depression with suicidal ideation. The constant state and threat of fear I lived through all those years has taken a toll on my mind and body. My life in general. I battled several other ongoing stresses, including my medical conditions, as I have been trying to also attempt to heal from the trauma with therapy. Brett has a cruel and sexual perverted mind, and I can say that with confidence. The types of sexual abuse Brett Orton put me through are horrific and abnormal. He enjoyed it. As a young girl without a father around, he built my trust, and then he used it to exploit me and damaged me to the point that I lived in fear, shame, and confusion. He didn't care about me or my sisters or anyone else in that matter of fact, just himself. The reality is that I messed out on a normal childhood. I have difficulty forming healthy relationships. I struggle to trust anyone, and I fear for my safety when I shouldn't have to live in fear. I experience frequent flashbacks, nightmares, and overwhelming anxiety, which make it difficult to function in my daily life. I've been diagnosed with several trauma-related disorders, anxiety, eating disorders, syncope, constant flight or flight, stomach problems, suicidal ideation, and most recently, I've been experiencing pass outs. Terrible stomach problems. I've spent countless hours in therapy trying to heal the damage he has done. I live every day facing the fears and dealing with the pain, emotionally and physically, that Brett created. Once Brett actually was put in prison, I felt I was able to breathe. But a part of me still fears that once again he will manipulate authorities and find a way out of his crimes. The longer he stays in prison, the more I will feel safe to confront the past trauma. I finally am making some progress and finding that I've gained strength through surviving all the adversity. However, if he were allowed to be out of prison, I don't know if I would be able to live in fear. I know this man well, and I know what he is capable of doing to me and others. I fear for my safety and others. I respectfully and sincerely ask the board to please deny any parole for Brett Orton. He knew what he was doing and the damage he was inflicting for an extended period of 18 years of my life, my sister's life, and many, many others that I could name. The man only cares about himself and fulfilling his twisted sexual needs. He has not demonstrated genuine remorse, taken accountability, or made any stride towards correcting his unhealthy mind, thereby displaying more reasons he should not be paroled. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story and speak on behalf of the person I was during all those years of abuse, as well as the person I am becoming today. I hope this impact statement helps the board members understand the magnitude of the decision, considering the extent of lasting harm that he has caused. And I want you to know I will be, and I will continue to be the voice for all those victims that cannot stand in front of you. So sleep on that, buddy. Sleep on that. Because I couldn't sleep last night thinking about all this shit. I didn't get my rest, so hopefully you can get yours. Sitting there. I really hope you find your peace, buddy. Because I found mine, and it ain't with you. You're dead to me, you piece of shit. You're dead. I hate you. I fucking hate you. That's all I have to say today. You rotten hell. Thanks for everything you've done to me. I really hope you enjoyed it. So you can rot like I have all those years. You can rot. You hear me? Rot now.
I feel like I might be able to say a few words.
Mr. Lamb, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kyle, I'm so proud of you.
Me too.
All right.
So proud of you.
I'm proud of you too.
You tell him where the bear shits in the woods.
Mr. Lamb,
Yeah.
if you'd like to speak, that's certainly fine. I need to swear you in as well. Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear to tell the truth and be accurate in today's proceeding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And please state your name for the record.
My name is Kyle Joseph Lamb,
Okay.
nephew to Brett Leonard Orton.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Lamb. What would you like us to know?
I don't know where to start. I didn't write anything like Brandy did. I just, let me start with, I couldn't sleep last night either. You know? And, I don't know if, I doubt he'll ever understand the fucking repercussions of his actions. I doubt he will. That's why I'm here. I don't like to say that I feel like he fucked my life up, because I know I've made some bad choices myself, but coming to understand why I've made some of those choices always comes back to this man. Yeah. Almost a similar story. My dad when I was 4. And from that point on, I didn't know who to look up to. When you lose your father, you're looking for fatherly advice. My mom, she was way depressed from that. She wasn't there like she could have been, and that's not her fault, but that hurt me a lot, losing him. And it hurt me a lot more putting my trust in Brett, because I looked up to him for a long time when I was a kid, and I spent a lot of time with him, and I can definitely talk about this man's character because I was confused for a long time myself. I remember memories of this guy passing high schools and doing his best to fucking, to see which ones were wearing the least clothes, and always just talking about virgin pussy is the best, and, and just talking about children in the sickest ways, and me not even fucking realizing how fucking disgusting this motherfucker is, I remember one memory, that I can talk about, and it's hard to, where me and Brandy were manipulated into doing some with each other and him recording it and him enjoying it, not exactly as she said it. No, I still question why the fuck, and I'll never understand. I don't care to, but I've been doing a way better in my life in the last 7 months, and then hearing this, about, I don't know what to say. I don't think he should ever get out either. And yes, I hate this man. My relationships have been hard to fucking keep because of the way that he tried to raise me. I remember an instance of him trying to offer fucking girls money for sex and then turning them down, freaking out. I was there for a bunch of that. He made it seem cool. There was times that he made me and my cousin Drew go fucking, we're teenagers, and we thought it was cool to go fucking jump fences, go steal shit for this guy in the middle of the night. Called them Black Ops missions. It's not just that he has a little illness, it's that he's fucking cold, calculated, very manipulative. It looks like he's doing good. It's because he wants you to think that, and that's why nobody fucking believed us. I lost half my family members. I had to mourn the loss of my Aunt Tina because of turning this guy in. I had to, there's people that I lost because I finally said, hey, this guy is fucked up, And yeah, maybe I hit it well too, but that's because we were kids. We didn't understand. What I'm trying to say is, I've been dealing with this ever since I was probably like 7 to 9 years old, and I don't remember any memories before that either. I'm sure I was hanging out with him since my dad died. But I've just barely started getting into therapy a few months ago and understanding exactly the damage that was done, but I don't know. It'll be better worded in the future. You fucked everything up. You knew it wasn't okay. I have kids. I would never. I'll never understand why you did, but you need to stay there. Try to find your fucking happiness in there, but you need to stay there. I don't care if you're sorry. I'll show up every time. And thank you for letting me talk. I don't know what else to say. You know, and I'm sorry for getting upset. I really wanted to just keep my calm and try to educate a little bit more on his character. And I know I can. There's a lot I've been thinking about the last few weeks, but I have a hard time getting stuff done because of the fucking anxiety. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lamb. Those were the two people that I had on the list to speak. Again, anybody's welcome to submit letters. And again, any other hearings we have in the future, you can speak at those as well, or it's completely your choice, whatever you're comfortable with. But Mr. Orton, what is your response to this?
It's hard for me to respond to it, except for, I'm sorry for the shit that I'd done. I made some pretty horrible mistakes. I will suffer in here for it. I didn't mean to harm anybody or hurt anybody, but I did. And I can never take it back. I can never help you. I can never fix anything that I've done wrong. All I can say is I'm sorry. It's the best I can do. I can't fix anything. You know, I feel your guys' pain. I've had a lot of time to sit and just think to myself, and I truly am sorry, whether y'all believe me or not. I am sorry. Because I've lost everything too. My freedom, my family. I've lost a sister since I've been here. I'll probably lose my brother being here that I'll never see again. I know that don't mean nothing because it's my fault. All I can hope is that with what you guys are doing out there, it will help you guys, because I'm doing it in here. You may not think I am. You may not know that I am. But I have been doing programming in here, which you may not think I have been, but I have been. I'm trying to change who I was and how I was to be a better person for everyone. It's not easy recognizing the faults and the mistakes that you've made in life. And I've made a lot of them in my time. And if I could take it all back just to save the hearts of people, of these folks, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I cannot do that. And for that, I feel sorry for me and for them, because they have to suffer the most. I'm in here, I have to suffer with the day-to-day things in here, but I don't have to suffer with life. Because life is what it is in here for us, how we make it as inmates. A lot of people don't know what it's like in here on the outs, but it's not easy. And And I've been down, started my 7th year now. And whatever it may be, it may be. The board don't let me out, they don't let me out. But hopefully they'll see that I've tried to redeem myself from the person I was. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but to Brandy, to Kyle, and to the other ones, my heart goes out to you for my mistakes. And if I could make it better for you guys, I would. I really would. But I can't. All I can do is the time that you guys give me in here and try to change myself, like I said. That's it. That's all I can do. That's all I've got to say.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
All right. So again, this hearing has just been about victim impact. It's not considering pardoning or parole. The board will issue an order, which really just marks that we had this hearing. That'll be on our website probably in about 2 weeks. And we'll send you a copy of that.
Yes, sir.
But again, your original hearing is February 2034, and we're still have that guideline of 2048.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any final comments?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. That concludes our hearing.
Okay, looks like the recording has started. This is the time set for an original hearing / rehearing for ARTHEL Martin, offender number 199332. Is that you, sir? Okay. I'm Nathan Evershed. I'm a pro tem member of the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole, and I've been assigned to conduct your hearing today.
Okay.
Before we proceed, I want you to be aware that this hearing is being live streamed for public access and recorded. I don't know if anyone from the general public is here. I don't know, but I do know that there is a victim present, John Sharkey, who we will be able to hear from as well. So just so you know that they're able to log in and hear what's going on here as well.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to map out the agenda that we're going to be going through, and then we'll be hearing from Mr. Sharkey. So I just want you to know, I'm going to first swear you in, and then I'm going to be, we'll be hearing from Mr. Sharkey, and then we'll be going from there. So if you can just raise your right hand, do you swear that the information that you provide today will be truthful and accurate?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And thank you. And did you receive at least 7 days written notice of today's hearing?
Yes, I have.
And did you blue disclosure packet of information?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great. Have you had a chance to review that?
Yes, I have.
And do you have any questions, concerns, or corrections about the information in the disclosure packet?
No?
Okay, so are you ready to move forward?
Sure.
Okay, so we understand that there might be some kind of technical glitch that may be occurring in this other facility where Mr. Sharkey is. So Mr. Sharkey, what we'll do is we'll make sure that we'll hear your statement here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'm going to need you to also be sworn in. And so if you can raise your right hand, do you swear that the information that you provide today will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
Okay. I appreciate you being here today. It is your right as a victim to be present in these matters. You're obviously present from where you are. So what statement did you want to give?
So back in 2021, I was housed with Mr. Martin, and at that point in time, it was I know he was a state inmate in Cache County Jail. It was kind of during the COVID era. You know, I conversed with the gentleman multiple times. Him and I were on good terms. Our living situation was terrible. Cache County does not provide state inmates. We were housed in they had us sleeping in a auxiliary exercise room some of the time that we were down there. I know there was a lot of idle time. I never had any complications with Mr. Martin. I think what it came down to was at a certain point in time, it was just tension was high in the unit. I don't hold any ill will against him. I'm not in any fear for my safety. What I knew of him, he was a very kind gentleman. He was knowledgeable. I know that when he was housed in Gunnison, I know he was in the Strive program. I'm currently in the Strive program. So I do know that, you know, he made a lot of changes for the better. I do know that, you know, this program is proven to be beneficial to the inmates. And I just wanted to make it clear that, you know, I'm not in any fear of the gentleman. I wouldn't contest that he remains incarcerated any longer on my behalf. I don't have any ill will, and I have nothing against him. Thank you.
I want you to know I've made lots of notes. Part of the purpose of this hearing is to not only hear from Mr. Martin, but also to hear from people connected to this case. I appreciate that, you know, you didn't have to be here today, but you chose to be here and make that statement. I assume that is all of your statement, unless there's anything else you wanted to say. I just want you to know we appreciate it. Is that a fair assumption? Is that your full statement that you'd like to share?
One other thing I forgot to add was, I know during our confrontation, nobody was injured. So, you know, it was more kind of a situation where the county jail kind of blew the situation up more than it had really turned out to be.
Okay, thank you. I assume that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right, thank you for being here. You guys are free to continue on if you'd like, or you're free to log off. I know that you have some possible technical glitch in your facility that might be happening here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I allowed to?
Yep.
Thanks, sir.
Yep. All right. They're gone and muted. Okay. There was a technical issue that was happening in that facility, so we had to get to that first.
I understand.
Sometimes we kind of do some other things first here
Mhm.
as well. Okay, so I want you to know, well, I've read your packet. We now have that additional information. I'm going to make sure that you and I are on the same page.
Okay.
You're here on 2 offenses. There's a 2010 offense where it was an attempted murder that sent you to prison for 3 years and up to life. You were admitted here December 12th, 2010. Then there was this new offense that we just heard Mr. Sharkey on, is assault by a prisoner, a 3rd-degree felony. You were sentenced on that day on April 28th, 2021. The guideline date that's been calculated with those 2 offenses is June 28th, 2023. So we're obviously beyond that. And the last time that, or at least one of the things that we wanted to do, there was an original hearing set back in 2013, but one of the things that they wanted to get was to get a mental health evaluation, which we now have. So those kind of cover a lot of bases, but I wanted you to know that's what I know, and I assume you are aware of the same kind of things. But all that sounds accurate to you, is that
Yes, it
correct?
does.
Okay. So some things to maybe go over. One, and maybe most importantly, because we'll start with this, I did receive the diagnostic. I assume you received the diagnostic. It looks like there are many impressions of different things, and so that's a very good thing for you because it gives more clarity as to how best to help you to move forward and to have the appropriate treatment plan in place to help you have success, whether it's here or out in the community.
Okay.
So, so that was good. I'm glad that the board now has more information. With that additional information, it'll be better for you to get better services that way. So I want you to know that was something that was important, that was listed there before. We have that. I don't know how much more needs to be talked about that. The other thing I just want to address is that it looks like you've also been quite successful in a large, I mean, there's been some things that have come up, and we'll talk about that, like with Mr. Sharkey, for example. But that you've taken lots of classes, been working on education, GED, these things. It's all in the packet. I want you to know we've seen that. That's very, very good for you. And it looks like, at least here in Utah, you know, in terms of your of a criminal history, these were the only 2 offenses that come up here. These 2 felony offenses. Now, there were some disciplinary issues, and we'll talk about that. And that's kind of where I'll lead this conversation. So I just want you to know that I know it hasn't been completely terrific, but the last disciplinary offense was back in 2021. That was with Mr. Sharkey. There was one before that in 2020, and then another one before that, and about 4 years before. But nothing's been going on. And by the time February comes around, that will be 4 years since there's been any disciplinary issue. So, I mean, I just want you to know we can see both things. Like, obviously, it's no great thing that a felony offense happened here in the prison. I'm sure you know that as well as better than anybody. But also, I want you to know that we're taking into account that that's the last thing that happened here. So obviously, there's been some good material changes in your behavior and disciplinary issues here in the prison. So I guess that kind of just leads me to in the time that we have to talk with you, one, kind of about that case. It's a new felony offense that happened here, and obviously Mr. Sharkey made a statement about that, which in all respects looks to be on balance more favorable to you than non-favorable to you. But from the Board of Pardons perspective, this is the biggest issue, is that we have a 2010 offense that looks really, really significantly problematic, obviously. And you take into accountability for that. You were sent to prison for that. So there's not a lot that we need to relitigate because, you know, you're here because of that. But I guess, I mean, it looks like it's an 86-year-old landlady. I mean, and I don't know what else needs to be said about that, but obviously that's a concerning underlying offense. And then to have this 2021, again, this is now almost 4 years ago. So, you know, we can't, you know, be blind to that. I mean, that's a significant amount of days and months. But it comes up again in the prison where there's a new felony offense. So that's probably, as I go back to the Board of Pardons, and that's what happens from here, I go back, collaborate with my colleagues, let them know kind of like the insights. That's the biggest issue that they're going to want to know about is, you know, one, the underlying offense, but then two, to have another felony offense here in the prison. And I just want to hear your side of these things. So if you can illuminate that at all, that'd be great.
Oh, what happened was, it was, for the record, it was in jail. It was in Cache County Jail.
Yeah.
It wasn't in prison.
Yeah, it's up in Cache County.
Yeah. What happened was, I was there. One, I was there. From here, I was there. And I just was, I don't know, I was just being stupid, being straight stupid.
Mhm.
I mean, I never should have did it. I mean, it was over the TV. I mean, I put it in my vows never to fight over TV before.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, here it is again, happening again. And
Yeah.
I just said, forget this. Then it happened. And I was like, ah, gosh. Then they charged me. I was like, oh boy, why me? And then I looked at the whole situation and thought, well, I'm done getting angry. And I just am. I'm just done. I'm done getting angry at it completely because anger doesn't do anything for me. And doesn't do anything for anybody.
Right.
Anyone. I mean, I see
Right.
people get angry at little things.
Right.
And it's like, man, what are you doing to getting angry?
Yeah.
First of all, you got to look at it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of getting angry at it, you know what I'm saying? You don't get angry because.
So what have you been doing to, I mean, obviously it's been almost 4 years since that event happened and
What about-
obviously you've been more successful. So what skills have you been implementing to help you get less angry?
Honestly, I've been getting away from things, getting away from people, getting away from things that piss me off. You know what I'm saying? And if it pisses me off, I come at it in a total different manner. I look at people and say, okay, I'm not mad at it. Why isn't he mad at it? Then I look at him and I think, well, okay. I got to figure him out a little bit more, a little more better than what I've been doing. Because only when I see it, when I look at anger, I look at it as a childhood, as a child. You're going to get angry at something because you don't understand it, or you're going to get angry at something because you fear it. You know what I'm saying? Figure out why figure out why you don't understand it, and then figure out why you fear it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a reason behind it. There's a reason behind everything. Makes no difference what it is. And then I just don't get angry. It's crazy. I mean, I'm mind boggling by myself. I'm mind boggling by myself.
Yeah.
'Cause I look at you guys. I mean, look at I look at people that's in higher up people. You know what I'm saying? I look at them and say, oh, that guy, she should be angry at something. So I guess it's not. Then I figure you out and I think, well, he can't be angry. So he's not angry. So why isn't he angry? I know this job pisses him off. Even like yesterday with Sergeant Clark, he was doing what he was doing with us in there, and I could just tell that there was some underlying thing going on with him, but he handled it well.
Mhm.
And that right there was like, yeah, he handled that professionally.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, I understand you guys get angry,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, but you do something with it instead of going out and reaching out and touching people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
Handle it.
yeah, you handle it in a total different manner, which is a good thing.
Yeah. And it looks like, again, there has been no disciplinary issues, no assaults,
No.
nothing for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And so you've been able to really implement some of these strategies. And what's happened in the last month or so is that now we have this assessment that's come out
Mhm.
and that has given some diagnoses here and about, hey, the mental health services that they want to implement with you. And so that's probably going to be quite helpful for you as well. So tell me about your attitude towards mental health treatment and towards, the recommendations that are being made for you just to kind of help you on that path.
Honestly, I don't actually see myself as being bipolar.
Okay.
I really don't. Because, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, I see where she's coming from. I get where she's coming from. However, put this scenario in there. I never mentioned this scenario when I talked to her. My bunkie he actually went off and had somebody else crack my safe, my lock
Mhm.
on my my lock. You know what I'm saying? Not too many people got locks, but he said somebody else cracked my lock. And I didn't get mad at it.
Yeah.
It was weird, but I should have. I really should have.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's an invasion of privacy.
yeah. I mean, that's all I have. That's burglary, straight up burglary.
Right.
I should have did a whole bunch of stuff to him, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, man, just leave. Just leave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, I have no time for you. I ain't got no time for you. You know, I'm going to see the board. I ain't got no time for you to be going to see. I ain't got nothing. I mean, come on, just leave.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, man, whatever you're going through, because I understood his situation about him going through with him stealing stuff. I get that. But me and what I'm doing,
Yeah.
it's like, partner, I'm on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I'm on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at this situation.
Good.
I'm 60 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have no time for anger. Only thing I got time is peace and love and happiness, and that's basically what I'm after. But as far as
So, because what they do say is that they're like, Mr. Martin would benefit from mental health services to explore symptoms of bipolar disorder, also the antisocial personality disorder, unspecified neurodevelopmental disorder, and cannabis-induced psychotic disorders. So it looks like they were able to kind of go through multiple layers, and that they're asking you to be involved in the case management to help develop services and support to help you be engaged in this kind of treatment and obviously remain drug-free. It looks like drugs have been somewhat of a triggering
They've been.
mechanism.
not really, but
And they also list that it looks like your desire is for an interstate compact eventually to Texas, et cetera. So, I mean, one of the things is when we see that report, again, we rely on professionals to go in and do a job. So it's not guessing. We're not just relying on your bunkmate or, you know, us as we just talk with you for 20 minutes to make a diagnosis, but we rely on professionals.
Mhm.
And they're saying, you know, again, it looks like it's not been fully diagnosed or addressed specifically, because they're saying this is unspecified, you know, things.
Mhm.
But it's going to be important to see like what your engagement will be when it comes to treatment on that level, whether it's substance abuse treatment or mental health treatment.
I'll do it. It makes no difference. I'll do it. Whatever gets me out. I can do it. It makes no difference. I can do it. Honestly, I just want out.
I know.
I'm not lying. I mean, I can do whatever they want me to do, I'll do. It makes no difference.
Okay.
I can do it. I can even gain from it. It makes no difference. I can gain.
Okay.
But the end result is where I'm after.
Yeah.
That's what I'm after. And whatever helps me get there quicker, that's where I'm going for.
Well, you're already doing some great things. I mean, like I mentioned at the beginning, you've taken many classes, working on education even. And now you've been disciplinary issue free for 4 years, almost, we're a month shy of that. And then, and now like we have a good diagnostic of like, okay, so some recommended plans to help you. And finally, you're already kind of doing your own self-correction of like, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need to get mad at this guy. You know, I'm going to be in control of all this, which is good. So one, I mean, you're to be commended on those things that you're doing. And then two, it's important for you to see kind of like what to anticipate. Like it's critical for you to be on that path because, you know, having a felony conviction while here in prison, although that you're at Cache County Jail, it's still, you know, in custody, is no good thing, obviously. But you've handled that the last 4 years. Really, you haven't done anything since then. You've learned, you know, and sure, like you mentioned already, you've had your opportunities for sure. Okay, so those are the things I wanted to address. Your history here, the underlying new case that was here, the mental health diagnostic that we've talked about, the good things that we want to talk about. Mr. Sharkey was here and present to give his statement as well, which was good to hear from, you know, someone that was involved in this. It's always good for us to get more illumination on these things. So I think we've covered everything that we needed to cover on my end. Do you feel like there's anything else we should cover? Or do you think that we've covered it?
No, I think you covered it all.
Okay, I do.
Covered it all.
So what's going to happen from here, Mr. Martin, is I go back to the Board of Pardons, collaborate with them with this new additional information. It'll be added to your file, collaborate with them. And then when three of us unanimously agree on a certain outcome, you'll be informed of that. And that will come in writing to you. That typically will come in the next 2 and maybe up to 4 weeks. But look for that to come. In the meantime, continue to do what you're already doing. It's the smartest thing. It's incredibly smart for you to do that. Engage in those classes, continue to be disciplinary, issue free, and look through that letter and, continue to take control of all those things. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Okay. This is the time set for an original hearing for Ernesto Garcia Casares. Am I saying that right?
CASAREZ?
Casares. Offender number 190424. Is that you, sir?
Yeah.
That's your name? Okay. All right. I'm Nathan Evershed. I'm a pro tem member of the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole, and I've been assigned to conduct this hearing here today. Okay. Before we proceed, I want you to be aware that this hearing is being live streamed for public access. I don't know if anyone from the general public is tuning in, but just fair for you to know it's being recorded and it's being live streamed. Okay. Before we begin, I'm going to map out our agenda. The first thing I'll be doing is I'll be swearing you in because I'll be taking testimony from you. And then from there, I'm going to gather information, make sure we're on the same page, gather some information, ask you some questions. And at the end, if you feel like there's something that you want to still present that we haven't covered, you'll have time and space to do that. But I also want you to know that there's no decision that's being made here today. What happens is I gather this additional information from this meeting here today. I go back to the Board of Pardons, collaborate with my colleagues. And when three of us have unanimously agree on a certain outcome, you'll be informed of that, and that'll come in writing within the next 2 and maybe up to 4 weeks. Okay? That's the process. All right. So as I told you, I'm going to be swearing you in. So if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the information you provide today will be truthful and accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Did you receive at least 7 days written notice of today's hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you receive your blue disclosure packet of information?
Yes.
Okay. And you can put your hand down. You don't need to do
okay,
that.
yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Did you have a chance to review your disclosure packet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any questions, concerns, or corrections about the information in the disclosure packet?
No.
All right. So are you ready to move forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've been able to review your packet. I want you to know, this is what I know, to make sure that you and I are on the same page. You're 33 years old. You were admitted here in the prison on August 8th, 2024. The guideline date for a release, which is a date that the legislature asks us to strongly consider, is April 10th of this year. Okay, this is your first time to prison. You're here on a second-degree felony theft where the allegation is essentially you stole a truck, it was damaged and there was a total loss, and the truck was worth about $86,000. I know in your history, while this is your first time in prison, there's been multiple other felonies, multiple other thefts as well. So that's something we'll talk about. And initially, you were granted the privilege of being on probation in this case. That lasted for about 408 days, but it looks like it just ended up being a big failure. You failed UAs, you absconded supervision, didn't show up for evaluations, didn't show up to a 2-day RIM thing. So eventually the judge said, okay, fine, I'm going to send you to prison. So that's exactly what happened. I also do know that there was a prior case as well. While this is your first time in Utah prison, there was a prior federal prison case that you're a part of. Okay. So that kind of captures things. Everything I tell you was sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So the biggest thing is, because we can't really talk about everything and go throughout your entire life, we have to focus in on the time that we have, which ends up being about 20 minutes, on the things that I really need to get some information on so I can further clarify things to the Board of Pardon. And the biggest red flag that's going to be here is just you've had a really good opportunity at probation. The judge gave you that opportunity, and it looks like it was a colossal failure. And so tell me why the Board of Pardon should hope or even expect that a parole would be any different.
That was my very first time that I had a probation violation on the entire case. I didn't get no chances beyond that. There's this my very first, I would say, slip up, and I wasn't able to make it to my classes because due to transportation, and the judge didn't want to give me any chance at all anymore on probation. He just sentenced me straight to prison. I just felt he's just a hard judge, you know? So he didn't give me like any other chance to try to correct it in the situation, which I'm pretty sure I could have because I did good all that time. When before I've done probation, I usually make it 30 days, you know, or so, because I'm already in the mood of like, I don't want to do this. But I was cooperating, and he told me about the classes a little too late, basically a week before I was supposed to go back, or he was going to put me in front of the judge already. And he told me a week before that, and I only had a week to do that. And for me to find a ride within that time was kind of hard for me. And it was 2 classes. I scheduled them, but I was unable to make it.
So just help me understand, because the notes that I see, and I can look further into this, also shows that you had failed UAs, which can happen, but that also you absconded, you left probation, you didn't show up for the initial evaluations, and then he did a 2-day RIM kind of like corrective plan, and you didn't even show up on that.
Yeah, that was in that week's time.
Yeah, all that happened within that 1 week.
Yeah, because the thing was, because I'm living with my mother at the time, and after this, pretty much, but she had medical problems here in Salt Lake, and we're at her appointments, and I was a week shy of showing up for that month. Like I didn't like run or anything. Like I notified him and I called him, my probation officer, and he just called it since I was late, even though I let him know it was past the 30-day mark. So he had to say that, or he had to put into the judge that I failed to show, like that I didn't show up. And for me not showing up for the RIM and stuff was due to me not having a ride at the time too, also.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing on parole is that, I mean, it's not going to be peaches and cream. It's not going to be a bed of roses. It's not going to be easy. Like, you're going to have to take the initiative, and you're going to have to just follow through with things and just stay on top of it. Obviously, it's going to have to be an improvement over probation. So I understand that there can be some grievances with personalities or with other people that are involved, but at the end of the day, like, it's your full responsibility to follow through with these things. And so, you know, tell me how you anticipate handling parole. And let's say you have a parole officer that you say, isn't as patient with you as you need to be, or you still have transportation issues or whatnot, just the things in life that can happen. What are you going to do to kind of like show that you can be successful on parole?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be like the judge and just throw me in prison my very first mess up. Like, I'm pretty sure, the board may work with me on some things, you know, like my mother's, health. Like, that was the major issue why I was unable to show up. And I even had paperwork to prove it and stuff, and where I was at with her, and she was willing to, let my probation officer know, but, for some reason, the judge and them didn't want to hear it. Like, I think that may be the only issue with me because, thanks to my mother, that's about it as of late of my life changing.
Yeah. See, and those things happen in life, and it sounds like you're a good son, and these are things that you want to focus on, as you should, because that's what
First time in
good sons
life,
do,
really.
is to focus. But being on parole has to be your number one priority. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it is so simple. Again, in this case, you're not going to necessarily have a probation officer that can book you in jail, then you have to go before a judge and, you know, all this stuff. When you're on parole, like, you have a parole officer, and if the parole officer says that, hey, you violated, it just goes to the Board of Pardons on paperwork, and like, you're in. Like, you cannot have the attitude that this is going to be something, oh, well, they'll work with me, they'll understand. It's like, you know what, maybe. I mean, but at the end of the day, if you're not showing that that this is your top priority in life, to kind of complete these things, to go forth on these things, to show these, follow through with the evaluations and the assessments that you have, to not have dirty UAs, to always show up, to not abscond, to do those things. That has to be your number one priority. Otherwise, you're going to be coming back here and it's going to be a turnstile. Believe me, we see that all the time. Okay. So do you understand that this just has to be your top priority?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and this whole thing of like, oh, maybe they'll kind of turn, why give anybody a chance to have that much discretion over your life? I mean, if you mess up, somebody could just say, send them back to prison.
Yeah.
You know? Okay. So, I mean, you have complete control to show up to these things, to not abscond, to follow through with your evaluations, to check in, to stay clean. And if you do that, there's nothing that anybody can do to you because you're complying with things. You understand? You get me? But if you have a failed UA, you could be coming right back here. If you abscond, I can almost guarantee you'll be coming right back here. So anyway, there just has to be that. And I'm doing this because it's like, we get no satisfaction just to have people just kind of come back and just sit right here. It is so much better for the community and so much better for you and your family, for you to eventually get out of here, succeed on parole. And I'm telling you exactly the way to do it. You get out there and you follow through with these things. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
You have complete control and power. I mean, like, and the reason why I'm coming this way is that there seems to be a bit of a perspective of, well, maybe I can get away with some things because, the Board of Pardons, well, you know what? That is not advisable. That is just not.
I assume it'll be the same way, and that's how I'll treat it.
Good. So just do it that way, okay? I mean, you are 33. This is your first time in Utah prison, and I do know that there have been struggles in your past with other offenses, and particularly with theft and drugs and things. Sir,
Yes,
like,
sir.
you don't want to be doing this, but I just talked with the guy that was like 60. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to be here like when you're 60?
No.
And so the thing is that you just really, okay, part of what's going to happen here is that there is going to be expected of you a very clear treatment plan for your mental health and for your substance abuse issues. Okay.
Okay.
You will have to follow through with that. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, there's no mystery. I don't know what's going to come in. Other terms are going to be coming in that letter, but that's going to be for sure. That's going to happen. So follow through with those things. Okay.
So like MRT and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And like, being clean, understanding like what are those triggering issues for like taking drugs, like
Yeah.
what are the pathways in life to kind of help you have a successful pathway
Those-
where you don't have to rely on that as a coping mechanism, that you can, have good health and employment and family and all those things. You know what I mean?
I've learned something since I've been here, and I have completed an MRT program.
Good.
And victims impact.
Yes.
With Officer Durfee, and the
Wh-
MRT teacher was Miss Page. And I had learned some things from those.
Good.
Like triggers and things that, I've recognized that I want to implement into my life.
Good.
And try to use them in my everyday thinking,
I want you to know I have that here. I'm making an additional note here, and that's been good for you. It's been successful for you. You know what I mean?
And I'm also in the solid program, section 4, cell 206 bottom. And I like where I'm at. I like the environment of being
Okay.
in a program unit of trying to learn something here at this prison. Because like you said, I have been to prison before, and there I completed only one course because they really didn't require me much of me there, you know?
Right.
And here, there's just a lot more difference, and I mean, I'm trying to learn and take something
And I
from
want
it.
you to know, I've noted that solid program, MRT, victim impact.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a sincere effort to learn new tools, gain new traits. I also want you to know, no disciplinary issues here since you've been in prison, which is phenomenal. And the people, not all people do that. And I guess the other thing I wanted to address before our time's up, I wanted just to have you just tell me, what is your plan for possible parole? Like, tell me what life looks like. Where do you think you'd be living? Where do you think you'd be working? Things like that.
Well, I'll be living with my mother, and my sister and my brother-in-law.
Out there in Vernal.
Yeah, out
Okay.
there. No, we might be over by, Farm Creek area.
Okay.
Over between Roosevelt and Vernal
Okay.
area. And well, I'm gonna be living with them. I got a bedroom and stuff. My mother's gonna help me out financially for the first little while.
Good.
And so, my first goal is probably to figure out transportation because I may have to take the classes like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know a place, it's, right there in Fort Duchesne, it's called Red Pine. There's a program there and they do these things called outpatients and stuff like that.
Good.
So I know a place where I could probably put in for like maybe some sort of, like MRT or something like
Good.
that,
Good.
classes.
Good.
Like if well, I guess you said I'm gonna probably be needing something like that.
You will.
So
Good, and
I'll
then-
be able to have a job if I'm gonna be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, so it all depends, like how much, I don't know if you'll be in inpatient or outpatient treatment, that's gonna take a ton of your time. But let's say hypothetically, you're able to fit in a job, I mean, like, kind of what kind of a background do you have for working?
Well, I haven't really worked that much. I was a maintenance man, a logger. I was even a school teacher for a little while.
Mhm.
What else?
Okay, so I mean, one thing that we may encourage you to do is go through some vocational rehabilitation, just to gain skills and stuff, okay? All right, so because that
I
is,
signed up for that thing called Voc Rehab.
good, yeah.
I had signed up with the program once and they were willing to pay for my schooling. And
Good.
what I was gonna do was go to school for my CDL
Good,
and they were gonna pay for it and stuff, so.
good.
Like with those things, sir, I just want to tell you, like, with the classes and the meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
I really ain't gonna be able to hold a job.
I know, and if you aren't able to, no one wants to set you up for failure. No one does. Okay, and so like, it could be, rather than that, maybe vocational rehabilitation to help you take a course, and maybe it's an online course or something, to help you gain skills and abilities to help you one day be employed. Okay, we don't want to overwhelm you. No one wants to set you up for failure. There are substantive issues that have to be addressed, sir. And as you know better than anybody, I mean, I'm looking back from offenses beginning in 2008, very serious offenses, as you know. And it looks like you were given the chance of probation. So there's a concern that with this history, there's some underlying issues that just fully haven't been addressed and that really need to be. And so that's gonna be the focus, is so you can just move on. I mean, eventually, imagine a life like this.
Yeah, well, that's actually.
I mean, imagine like you get on parole, you're with your family, you gain these classes, you fly through, no disciplinary issues, no violations that way. Eventually, you're done, you're off paper, and you have the skills of like having, independence in life, and you're able to give back to the community, to your family, and that's a life. And you can obviously do that.
Well, being here, there's a lot of ways to find yourself into trouble and stuff. And
Yeah,
situations and whatnot. And I've been faring pretty well here.
you have,
And-
and I noted that. I mean, you were booked here in August, and it
Yeah.
looks like no issues from there.
Yeah. And I've been being good and doing good things to stay positive and stay like on track, I
Good.
guess, for the goals that I made.
Well, we're coming to the end of our meeting, but before we do that, I want, you did say that your mother and sister were coming, and you were correct, apparently.
Yeah.
So just want to mention for the record, Valerie Kinlan, and Eagle Plume, what's that? Puiga. I love those names. So welcome. I know it's a long drive out from the Vernal area, so we understand like that can happen. I actually go out to Vernal quite a bit. So we'd like to welcome you here today. Just to kind of be fair to everyone, like I'm sure you want to know what happened. We were able to talk about what kind of like his probation, what the good things that has happened, the more difficult things that have happened. And kind of like what the pathway is going to be. It looks like you have a very supportive family. He says he has a wonderful mom that is going to give him a bed and place to live. So it looks like that's been assured here.
My sister.
And a wonderful sister too. So good. Yeah, you can't forget the sister. I don't want you to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So and I told Ernesto at the beginning, there's no decision made here today. He'll receive something in writing in the next 2 to 4 weeks. We did cover what are termed guidelines, the guideline date that has been calculated by the Board of Pardons office is for April 10th, 2025. That's a date that the legislature asks us to strongly consider. So that was noted here as well. And it's also been noted that Ernesto has been able to do a lot of good things here in the prison. And so we've noted that as well.
I was
Okay.
able to complete MRT and victims impact.
Yeah.
And
So-
that was capped for the MRT program. So
Yeah.
I completed what I needed to.
Good.
For my probation, our case manager.
Yeah. So Ernesto, you're on a really good path. You're moving forward. Obviously, there was an issue there with probation. You now know that when the privilege and opportunity of parole comes up, just follow through with what they're asking you to do. Get the help that is being recommended to you. You do those things, eventually parole will be over. Eventually you'll be off paper and you'll be going to a better life. And I know 2 women in this world that look forward to that. Okay. All right. So that was our time here for today. I appreciate your candor and your honesty and coming and talking here. Appreciate your long travel. I know it takes a long sacrifice, but you'll get that document in writing in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Briefly, if you just want to turn around and say thank you to your mom and sister, you can do that. Just stay seated. No, just. Okay, this is the time set for an original hearing for Corey DeWayne Hill, offender number 248277. Is that you, sir?
That is, sir.
Okay. I'm Nathan Evershed. I'm a pro tem member of the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole, and I've been assigned to conduct this hearing today. Before we proceed, I want you to be aware that this hearing is being live streamed and recorded for public access. I don't know if anyone from the public is tuning in, but it's just fair for you to know that that's the case. I'm going to map out our agenda as to what we're going to be doing here today. The first thing that we'll do is I'll swear you in. because I'm going to be taking testimony from you today. And then from there, we're going to gather information, make sure we're on the same page, gather information, ask you some questions. And I just want you to know if at the end of today's meeting here today, if there's anything that you feel like we haven't appropriately covered, you'll have time and space to bring that up and to add any additional information you feel like we need to. But just so you know, Mr. Hill, there's no decision made today. Okay, what happens is I gather this new information, I go back to the Board of Pardons, collaborate with them, and when 3 of us unanimously agree on a certain decision, you will be informed of that. It'll come in writing to you. It'll probably come in the next 2, maybe up to 4 weeks, okay?
I understand, sir.
All right. So if you can please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the information that you provide today will be truthful and accurate?
I do.
Okay, thank you. You can lower your hand now. Appreciate that. Okay, did you receive at least 7 days written notice of today's hearing?
I did.
Did you receive your blue disclosure packet of information?
I did, sir.
All right. Have you had a chance to review that disclosure packet?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions, concerns, or corrections about the information in the disclosure packet?
I have a couple of certificates that weren't in there, some of the courses that I completed.
Tell me about, so maybe I'll tell you what I understand, and maybe this will answer some questions and let you know what I see. Well, there's a lot. I know you did HOPE, you have your GED as well, Impact of Crime, MRT, Inside Out Dad, Partners in Parenting. What other, like, are there any other ones that you feel like I need to know?
Yes, so having a addiction recovery certificate, 12-step program. Self-reliance, LDS self-reliance that I completed this year.
Good.
I completed Crime for Life this year. And then I have done crafts for service, so we just make like pillows and beanies for those less fortunate.
Great.
And then I also have a letter from Sharon from Fitness to Recovery that wasn't able to get sent to you guys.
Okay. Did you complete something there with Fitness to Recovery or?
Yeah, so it's just stating that I am a part of their community. It's mental health, mental awareness, addiction, sober type environment.
Good. So tell me the name of it again.
It's called Fit to Recover.
Okay, perfect. And you are in Summit County, is that right?
That is correct.
Perfect. All right. Is there anything else additional that you think that was missing in the packet?
And then Sergeant Schaefer, he said he sent a letter on Monday. I'm not sure if you guys received it. He said that he went online and just used the email address that was online.
Okay. When I was preparing this on yesterday, I don't know if I saw that yet. But I'll make a note here in my notes to go look for that. Okay. So Sergeant Schaefer sent a letter. Okay.
And that's it, I think, sir.
And I assume Sergeant Schaefer is up there in Summit County?
Correct.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Hill, this is kind of what I wanted you to know about. Let's make sure we're on the same page. You're 36 years old. You were admitted here to the prison September 16th, 2020. This is your first prison stint, at least in Utah. The guideline date for a potential release, and the guideline date is something that the legislature asks us to consider, is January 8th, 2026. You're here for 2 charges, both of them from 2019. There's an aggravated burglary, which is a first-degree felony, and also possession of a firearm by a restricted person, which is a third-degree felony. So all that sounds about right to you so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. While here, you not only did you just tell me all of those things that you've done, but you're to be commended on all of the other great things that you've done. You have your GED, you completed HOPE, and we just don't really have time to go through all of these other things that are listed, like psychology of the brain, improving self-esteem. I mean, it looks like from 2021 on, you've been quite engaged in many, many things as you've been in custody. And so I just want you to know, we see that, we know that, and you are actually required to get credit for that, and you will get credit for all of that. The other thing I wanted to also note in looking at things, because, we're not here just to kind of, put on rose-colored glasses. Obviously, there's been a lot of good things. But also, as you know, beginning in 2021, there were a couple disciplinary issues. In 2022, there were about 3 more. It looks like the last one was from a March 2023 incident as well. So we're almost like now coming up. I just want you to know, we put things in context. That's the fairest way to do this. And we know that that's nearly 2 years we're nearly 2 years from that last disciplinary issue. But it's just fair for you to know exactly what we're seeing, the things that we want to talk with you about. And I think those are the 2 things I really want to talk with you about. One, I mean, any insight as to why there were multiple disciplinary issues, that happened. Again, the last one that happened was a couple years ago. And then insight to how you've been able to completely eliminate that nearly these last 2 years. So maybe we'll start there. Tell me about kind of what was going on in your life, why there were multiple of these issues, and what you've been able to do to successfully, eliminate them.
Yes, sir. When I first was incarcerated, I was angry. I was upset. I didn't think that I deserved to be here, and I was rebellious.
Mm-hmm.
Also, on the same note, I knew that I was in need of help, and I knew I needed to accept the things that I was unable to accept, that I was a drug addict and that I had low self-esteem and I hated myself. And I thought I knew sobriety was going to be my key. Mm-hmm. So since December 8th of 2019, I have been sober. That is over 5 years. And there was a lot of challenges. Again, I was conflicted between being incarcerated, losing my family, losing everything, and wanting to be better. Mm-hmm. So as the time went on, things did get a little easier. I did have a couple of bumps in the road, but ultimately, my recovery started and it's going to end with my sobriety. And I have so many people out in the world that are rooting for me, that need me, that want me to be in their lives. And the road I was going down and while I was incarcerated wasn't the right one. So I had to remove myself from certain people, certain situations. I didn't join a gang. I joined a substance abuse program. I don't have any new tattoos. Like I said, I've been sober for over 5 years, and ultimately I'm doing everything that I can and need to do in order to prove to myself and to others that I am capable of being out and back into society.
Okay. Well, wonderful. And I'm glad you are doing those things. You're maintaining your sobriety. Obviously, that's just going to be a commitment really for the rest of your life. You saw what the substances led you to, and you just seem like this very intelligent guy that knows, like, hey, this isn't for me. Like, I just can't have this in my life. So, Mr. Hill, tell me about what a potential parole looks like for you. I mean, where do you envision living, working, doing, in those things?
So I'm originally from Las Vegas, and I don't have any family out here besides my ex-wife, my victim, and her children and my son. So I would ultimately be asking to go back to Nevada to go live with my sister or my mother, whatever address will get approved. They're both sober living homes, you know, kid friendly, drug free. And so right now I got my high school diploma. I'm going to GED right now because I want to go to college. I was accepted into a college, Adams State University, but due to FAFSA and the financial aid, I was unable to get the funding that I needed. So I have my GED teacher here. She has a sister that works at UNL, the University of Las Vegas, and she is willing to throw her name out there to help me get into a forestry program to where I can go to school. And in between time, I will do just, I can potentially work for sanitation. They hire felons and warehouses. I've worked pretty much my whole entire life. I don't think working has ever been an issue, but I would like to get a degree in forestry.
Oh, that's great. Good on you. I can't tell you just how wonderful it is to hear that. You know what I mean? It's not every day where I'm talking with someone that's in prison that, you know, has such high, lofty goals. And it looks like from everything that you've been able to do here, and it's really, words are one thing, and but it's really through your actions that you've been able to show, like, listen, I'm interested in this. I want to get better. I want to be sober. I want to gain skills. I want to prove that I can succeed out there. And so kudos to you. I mean, like, I know it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of choices to do that. And so I really hope that works out where you're able to secure those funds, get that position, you know, continue to work as well. Okay, well, that's obviously a very good path for you, and hopefully that does all work out well for you. Well, Mr. Hill, I told you we would cover a whole lot of ground. We've done that today. I want you to know that I've listed these added things that you've talked with me about, like addiction recovery and self-reliance. And we have a lot of other good things that you've gotten done. You'll get credit for in terms of like time as well. I want to talk with you about just, you know, the history here in the prison, the disciplinary issues, what you've been able to do to kind of avoid those and what was going on some years ago. And then talk with you about a potential parole and what that might look for you. I will look for that letter from Sergeant Schaefer and for anything else that would be useful in this file. But those are all the things I felt like we needed to cover. Looks like we were able to cover it. Is there anything additional that you feel like we needed to cover, or do you feel like we've covered it well?
I would just like to say that in September of 2023, there was like nothing on my cap. I completed these things on my own without anyone having to tell me to do these things. It wasn't for the board. It wasn't for anyone else. It was for my road to recovery. And I appreciate that you are taking all the things that I have done into consideration. And I'm ready. So, and I am thankful for the opportunity that you guys have given me to speak my piece. And to the victims, I am highly sorry. The victims weren't just victims, they were my family members. And my son, like, he did not deserve this. My stepchildren did not deserve this. My ex-wife definitely did not deserve this. And I am sorry for the pain and trauma that I potentially caused. And I am doing these things so I can prove to them that I am the person that they believed me to be.
Perfect. All right. All right. Well, Mr. Hill, again, there's nothing that can be said because again, we have to collaborate with the other members of the Board of Pardons. But I can tell you this: all of this will be shared with them, all of it, and you continue on your path of avoiding any kind of disciplinary issues, which is what you're doing. It looks like there's no chance of that even happening based off of the mindset you already have and the place where you are. And the choices that you're making. Continue to fill your life and your mind with as many good things as you can. But I want you to know that you're going to be receiving credit for a lot of these things that you've been doing. And then you will learn of a parole date. And I just encourage you to follow through with everything that's going on. Don't take anything for granted. We see too many people get too cocky and get over their skis a bit on these things, but just continue to have that humble mindset. Go get it. Go get that college degree. Go make a life. And what a great story that you'll be living, and giving to other people. That's fantastic. Okay.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you. All the best to you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Likewise.
All right, all right. So it looks like this hearing has come to an end. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's see who we have in here. I see Mad Max or M-Star Media, Juan. Really appreciate you guys. Anyhow, like I said around here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we are out. I do have another stream running, which is in, let me see, where the hell is this at right here? Let me see here. Give me a moment. I'll go ahead and link it up right now quickly. Just give me a quick moment here. Let me see here. Got a 11. Let me see here. YouTube. And I can link it up really quick here. Utah. Oh yeah, I gotta rename that one there. So Connecticut. Oops. So this is the Utah hearing. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and redirect it. Yeah, Aaron, it is over, but I'm gonna go ahead and it should send you over to the other stream that I got going on for Connecticut. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said right here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we are out. A rato.